Level 1, Airman Basic, E1. You were 18, the star of your own movie. You thought basic training was a game you could beat. So you missed the time hack. A tiny, selfish mistake. Just 10 seconds late to formation. 300 hours, Lackland Air Force Base. The Pacer Forge encampment. The Texas sky unloads a freezing downpour. Your OCPs are stiff, soaking wet, and heavy against your shivering skin. You grip a cold, plastic M16 trainer with numb fingers. The military training instructor knows you were late. But he doesn't punish you, he punishes them. Your flight. 50 airmen drop into the thick red mud, down, up, down, up. You are forced to stand there, watching 50 brothers drown in the dirt because of your 10 seconds. The guilt is physical, it crushes your chest. The MTI steps close. The brim of his campaign hat sheds water onto your collar. He doesn't yell. They bleed for your mistakes, he whispers, a razor-sharp cut through the storm. When you fail, the system dies. There is no you anymore. You drop to the mud beside them. The icy water stings your eyes. Down, up. The cocky kid who stepped off the bus is gone. Dead, murdered by consequence. The illusion of individuality shatters. You realize the brutal reality of the transaction. Your personal autonomy is officially erased. You are now just a single cell in a massive, unforgiving organism. If you break, the machine bleeds. You press your bare palms into the freezing Texas mud. You push up. Not for you. For the man next to you. Level 2, Airman, E2. You're 19. Shepherd AFB, Texas. The hangar is flooded with harsh fluorescent light. The smell of grease, hydraulic fluid, and floor wax hits you all at once. In front of you, the landing gear assembly of an F-15E Strike Eagle, a beast of steel and titanium. In your hands is a thick, technical order, TO manual. Thousands of pages, dense with diagrams that look like a maze. You're drowning in information. The sheer weight of it crushes your confidence. You feel small. You pick up a pair of pliers and a length of stainless steel wire. First lesson, safety wiring a single bolt on the braking system. Your hands are slick with sweat. Your instructor, a seasoned tech sergeant, steps in. His rough hand clamps down on your wrist. Cold, firm. He points at the bolt no bigger than your fingertip. His voice cuts through the hangar, low and heavy. If this wire fails, the brakes lock up. The gear collapses at 150 knots. A $50 million jet flips. And 2 pilots burn alive. Your breath catches. The pressure slams into you, paralyzing. This isn't school anymore. Your carelessness will be paid for with flag-draped coffins. This machine has no mercy. Your shoulders drop. You swallow hard. Your eyes shift from the bolt to the TO. It's no longer a textbook. It's scripture. You push the fear aside. Push aside your fragile ego. You don't trust your instincts. You stake other people's lives on procedure, read, execute, cross-check. You twist the wire. 6 to 8 turns per inch. A perfect pigtail. You squeeze the pliers, cutting the sharp steel clean. You lock the bolt in place and lock yourself into absolute discipline. Level 3, Airman First Class E3, 20 years old. Airman First Class E3, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, mid-shift. Thanksgiving night. The temperature drops to -9 Celsius. Freezing drizzle turns to ice the moment it hits the ground. Back home, your family is gathered around the dinner table. The stove is glowing. Here, there's only darkness, a biting silence, and the sharp smell of JP-8 fuel burning into your lungs. You're kneeling beneath the tire of an F-15E. Task: replace a heavy carbon fiber brake assembly. Your bare hands are going numb. Hydraulic fluid leaks, slick and greasy, coating the frozen metal. Your knuckles crack open, pain sinking deep into the bone. It shoots up your arms, then your phone vibrates inside your OCP pocket. Again and again. A call from your mother. They're waiting for you to start dinner. Your chest tightens. A sudden, hollow pause. Homesickness claws at your mind. But the machine doesn't wait. The sortie is scheduled. You press your lips tight. Ignore the vibration in your pocket. Ignore the call of home. You brace yourself, forcing the brake assembly into place. Line it up, bolt it down. Torque wrench on, pull hard. A sharp click cuts through the night. Safety wire. Panel closed. Job done. 15 minutes later, the Pratt & Whitney engines roar to life. Heat blasts from the exhaust, melting the ice clinging to your lashes. The Strike Eagle launches into the black sky. You stand at attention on the runway, hands buried deep in your pockets. The contract is now real. The institution takes your place at the family table in exchange for control of the sky. A ruthless trade. Lonely, but proud. Level 4. Senior Airman. You are 22. Senior Airman, the journeyman. Bagram Airfield, Afghanistan. 110 degrees. The air is thick with dust and the choking smell of JP-8 jet fuel. Your OCPs are soaked in sweat, permanently stained with grease. You aren't the rookie anymore. You are the expert. An F-15E Strike Eagle screams onto the tarmac. It rolls into your spot, carbon brakes smoking. You throw the chocks. The canopy pops. The pilot pulls off his helmet. He looks down at you, jaw tight. We took small arms fire, infantry pinned down in the Korangal. They need us back up in 2 hours or guys on the ground die. You run the walk around. 2 bullet holes in the right fuselage, tearing through the skin near the environmental control system. The clock starts. You sprint to the expeditor truck. Speed tape, sealant, rivet gun. You climb the ladder. The scorched aluminum burns your bare hands. Then the siren wails. Incoming, incoming, incoming. Indirect fire. Rockets hitting the base perimeter. The giant voice system orders everyone to the concrete bunkers. You look at the bunker. You look at the jagged bullet holes. You think about the grunts trapped in the dirt, waiting for air support. You do not run. You lock your jaw. You tune out the wailing siren. You tune out the thudding explosions shaking the flight line. You focus entirely on the metal, drill, rivet, seal. Every movement is calculated. No wasted energy, no fear. You are a machine repairing a machine. 95 minutes later, you step down. You pull the chocks. You render the salute. The Strike Eagle roars back into the Afghan sky, loaded with heavy ordnance. You wipe the sweat and grease from your eyes. You did your job. They get to live. Level 5 Staff Sergeant, E5. You are 26. Staff Sergeant, E5. You cross the line. You don't just fix metal anymore, you manage lives. RAF Lakenheath, United Kingdom. A cramped NCO office, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Your phone rings, security forces. Your sharpest kid, a 19-year-old airman, caught a DUI at the main gate. His career is evaporating. You find him in the dorms. Oh, 300 hours. The room reeks of stale alcohol and suffocating panic. He sits on the edge of his rack staring blankly at a bottle of painkillers. Trembling. The military justice system is a meat grinder. It is about to chew him up. You don't yell. You don't quote the UCMJ. You shut the door. You lock it. You sit on the cold linoleum floor, right across from him. This is what leadership actually looks like. Sitting on the floor at 3 a.m. How do you pull a man back from the ledge? Through absolute immovable presence. You sacrifice your weekend, your sleep, your personal peace. You become a human shield. You sit in the dark because if you walk out that door, he won't be here for roll call tomorrow. Hours pass in heavy silence. You listen to his ragged breathing, you watch his hands. Finally, you lean forward, you reach out, take the plastic bottle and shove it deep into your cargo pocket. He buries his face in his hands, silent, violent shaking. You don't offer platitudes. You don't pat his back. You just stay grounded, an anchor. This is why you wear the rank. The mission is an endless, hungry beast. It extracts everything. If you don't absorb your airman's pain, the system will destroy him. You protect your own. You sit on that floor until the sun comes up. Level 6, Technical Sergeant, E6. You are 31, Technical Sergeant, E6. The Production Superintendent, Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar. 120 degrees on the concrete. The air tasking order is absolute. Command demands 12 F-15Es in the sky to strike ISIS targets. If you fall short, the enemy operates freely. That is the reality. But your crew is running on 4 hours of sleep. The heat radiates off the tarmac, a suffocating physical weight. You sit in the idling expeditor truck. 3 radios scream simultaneously. You look through the dust-streaked windshield. Your youngest weapons loader stumbles. He drops a heavy wrench. The steel clatters sharply against the ground. You see his face, pale, slick with cold sweat, eyes completely unfocused. Heat exhaustion. He is breaking. His body is shutting down. The instinct is to save him, to pull him into the AC, to let the sortie fail. You look at the empty bomb racks. You look at your watch. You step out of the truck. The desert air hits you like an open furnace. You walk straight to him. He looks up, silently begging for relief. You grab his shoulder harness. Your grip is tight, unforgiving. Drink a canteen, finish the load. You do not wait for an answer. You turn your back and walk away. You push him past the edge of human endurance. The jets launch, the bombs drop. The mission succeeds. You sit alone in the dark truck, staring at the radio, and let the quiet guilt scar over. The system survives. The man pays the price. Level 7, Master Sergeant, E7. You are 35. Master Sergeant, E7, Flight Chief, Osan Air Base, South Korea. You sit in a sterile conference room. The polished table reflects cold, fluorescent light. Your uniform is perfectly creased, no grease, no dirt. A black pen rests in your hand. Beneath the readiness report sits a legal document. Divorce papers. You sign your name on the dotted line. The Air Force finally takes your marriage. You slide the papers into a manila folder. You look up. Across the table sits a logistics captain, clean hands, detached. He denies the funding request for Level 7 extreme cold weather clothing systems for your maintainers. Budget constraints, he says. Make do with standard issue. The plastic pen cracks in your grip. You stand up. You plant both knuckles on the mahogany. You drop your voice to a dead, flat whisper. You cite AFI 21-101. You detail the exact drop in sortie generation rates when bearskin freezes to aircraft aluminum at -10 degrees. You look the officer dead in the eyes. Sir, if my airmen lose fingers on the tarmac tonight, I will personally wheel them into your office so you can explain the budget. Authorize the gear. Insubordination is a razor's edge. The room goes completely silent. The captain stares. He blinks first. He signs the authorization form. You walk out of the headquarters building. The freezing Korean wind hits your face. Your marriage is over. Your house back stateside is empty. But tonight, your 80 airmen will wear insulated parkas on the flight line. You pull your collar up against the biting chill. It is the only warmth you have left. Level 8, Senior Master Sergeant, E8. You are 39. Senior Master Sergeant, E8. The top 2%. Langley Air Force Base, Air Combat Command Headquarters. You sit in a massive, climate-controlled briefing room. No JP-8 jet fuel here, no deafening roar of afterburners. Just the sterile hum of air conditioning and the glare of a projector screen. You stare at a spreadsheet. Row 42 reads, Acceptable Sortie Generation Attrition. Percentages, metrics, cold data. You are drafting a global maintenance policy. One signature will dictate the daily grind of 50,000 airmen. You feel a sickening detachment. The imposter syndrome grips your chest. You are losing the dirt. You are becoming the machine. You close your eyes. The screen disappears. Suddenly the AC fades. You feel the minus 10-degree wind. You smell frozen hydraulic fluid. You see a 20-year-old E3 on a midnight flight line, hands cracked and bleeding, slamming a carbon brake assembly into an F-15. You see yourself. You remember the raw, physical agony of the tactical edge. You remember the blood left on the metal. You open your eyes. The spreadsheet stares back. You refuse to let the numbers erase the men. You pull the keyboard close. You highlight acceptable attrition. You strike the backspace key. It vanishes. You type a new mandate. You draft strict, mandatory man-hour limits. You force the bureaucracy to acknowledge the human breaking point. You weaponize your rank. You shield the freezing tarmac from the sterile boardroom. Level 9, Chief Master Sergeant, E9. You are 42. Chief Master Sergeant, E9. The apex of the enlisted force. You are the ultimate father figure to 5,000 airmen. But tonight, the chevrons on your sleeves feel like lead weights. Ramstein Air Base, Germany. 0200 hours. The red phone on your desk rings, a Class A mishap. An F-15E Strike Eagle went into the dirt. A pilot and a 20-year-old crew chief, gone. You step out of the wing command chief's office. You button your service dress coat. You step into the dark blue government sedan alongside the wing commander. The drive-through base housing is completely silent. The car parks. A single yellow porch light illuminates the driveway. Inside that house is a 20-year-old girl waiting for her husband to come off the flight line. She doesn't know she is a widow yet. You walk up the concrete steps. The air is freezing. The commander knocks. 3 sharp raps. The door opens. She sees the rigid blue uniforms. She understands immediately. The scream. It drops the temperature in the room. It is a visceral, tearing sound that will embed itself in your bones for the rest of your life. You do not flinch. You do not cry. You lock your hands behind your back at parade rest. Your posture turns to absolute granite. Your heart is breaking, but you refuse to let it show. This is the ultimate burden of the chief. The wing is watching. If the highest enlisted leader cracks, the foundation crumbles. You step forward. You absorb the devastating, crushing trauma of that room. You take it into yourself. You swallow it whole. You do this so 5,000 airmen can wake up tomorrow, lace up their boots, and launch the next jet. Level 10, Command Chief. You are 48. Command Chief. E9. The Pinnacle. Capitol Hill. The microphone hums. You sit before Congress. Your service dress is heavy with ribbons. You testify. You slam the statistics on the mahogany desk. Enlisted pay, veteran suicide. You force the politicians to look at the human cost of their wars. You fight the final strategic battle for your people. 2 hours later, Arlington National Cemetery. The wind cuts through the trees. Row after row of white marble. You stop at one specific stone. The 20-year-old crew chief from Ramstein. You stand at parade rest. Your knees grind with arthritis. Your youth is gone. Your family fractured across 3 decades of deployments. The military took everything it asked for. The transaction is complete. You do not weep. You lock your jaw. This is how the machine survives. Through 30 years of blood, sweat, and silent compromises. You turn toward the exit. The gravel crunches under your polished core frames. An airman first class walks past. E3, brand new. He stops. He snaps a crisp, flawless salute. You return it. Your hand touches the brim of your wheel cap. You look into his young, untired eyes. Why do we give our lives to the machine? The absolute truth hits you. You extracted your own freedom to forge a shield. You surrendered your life so thousands of others like him could survive, fight, and return home. A heartbreaking, brutal, deeply honorable transaction. You drop the salute, you walk away, the legacy holds.